Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso. It is my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew, Keith Johnson.
Hey, there's no cancellation date for our show.
Alan Seiler.
Live long and prospero.
And Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
And welcome back, everybody.
Yay.
Yeah,
Alan, did we have some news this week?
we do. We have some news this week. First of all, we have Dragon Con. For those of you who live in the Atlanta/Southeast area or who travel to big cons, we have our first raft of guest announcements for this year. And we're starting off with a celebration of the Voyager 30th anniversary with Garrett Wang, of course, because he's the de facto track leader for the Star Trek content. With him is Tim Russ, Robert Picardo, and Robert Duncan McNeil.
Wow.
Yay.
I am very excited about all of those. And joining them is Oded Fair, or AKA Admiral Silver Fox, who I believe is more a guest for other things that he's done Once Upon a Time and some other things, because Star Trek wasn't listed in his in the little paragraph that they put on the post.
Wow.
But he is, of course, most known to us for his role in Star Trek Discovery, and he will be on the upcoming show Starfleet Academy. So
Great.
I'm excited about all, and of course, I'm sure we'll be getting more. We usually have at least, very least, 10 Star Trek guests, so I'm sure there'll be more coming.
Right.
And
yes,
then
that's two
Go ahead.
people from Starfleet Academy who are going to be there. They're not there
That's
for
true.
Starfleet Academy, but it's a shame they can't say anything about it.
They might be able to say a little bit,
Okay.
because you never know. We might have a trailer by then. Who knows?
Okay.
Probably not, but who knows? And we have some other news to cover tonight as well, but we are going to save that for after our discussion of our main topic, because it really sort of chronologically falls, and it literally just broke this afternoon. So we're going to cover that after we talk about the trailer for Strange New World Season 3.
Right. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right. Keith, you have some This Week in Trek this week.
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. These are usually just some super classics. Back on June the 8th, 1966, the final script was turned in for the episode titled The Enemy Within, which is obviously, and one reason I think this is cool, sometimes you look at some of the stuff with Strange New Worlds or look at the history of Strange New World, there's a lot of things like body changes, body swapping and things like that. And of course, the original series is one of the first to play on the old Jekyll and Hyde thing, the famous Kirk, evil Kirk, good Kirk, whatever. Great and classic episode. William Shatner gets to both overact and act subtly in the same episode. So
He gets to overact and underact.
exactly.
On average.
Right.
Right. And you can't talk about this time period in Star Trek without hitting classics. 1 year later, on the 9th of June, was the first day of filming of Amok Time.
Oh.
And what is really interesting by that, sometimes looking behind the scenes, is by then Leonard Nimoy had clearly been established as the most popular character on the show. His fan mail was way, way greater than even William Shatner's. William Shatner was upset. This is when William Shatner was starting to get to the point where he was starting to count lines when he'd get a script to see if he had as many lines as Nimoy. He was jealous of the mail. And so here comes Amok Time, which is just amazing. But it's a good show because it uses both of them. It's obviously about Spock, but it showcases Shatner as well. And I think it just kind of shows it's not one or the other. It was them together, or the three of them together, really.
Sure.
That made the thing. Just a couple of more here. I just ended on this because I thought this was kind of funny. The 12th of June, 1966, the script was submitted for a show that was originally titled The Sons of Socrates,
Okay.
which I'm sure you can guess turned into
Plato's Stepchildren.
Plato's Stepchildren, which I tell you, every time I research this and go on social media, it is easily and instantly listed as one of the most hated Star Trek episodes of the original series by a huge majority of fans. I think it's hated by a
But with
lot.
one of the most famous scenes in Star Trek.
Which one? The horse?
No, with Kirk and Uhura.
Oh,
Oh, no. Okay, see?
please. God.
I was thinking about they made little Alexander get on Kirk and Kirk's shot whinnying like a horse. So see where my mind just went.
I mean, that's like the second most famous scene
Right.
from
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
just by this much.
Yeah. Also, famously, one of a handful of Star Trek episodes that were banned in many countries around the world for decades because there's no other way to say it. That thing gets really sadistic with the hot coals and the whips. I'm still stunned that thing got shown on Primetime America in the 60s, but places like Britain and Germany, they banned that thing for years because of that really weird scene in it.
Wow.
Okay, and that's this week in Trek history.
Awesome. Well, I mean, let's turn our eyes to the future then, because we got a new trailer for Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and I pulled screen caps from it.
Yes.
Now,
I appreciate you spending the time to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does make these episodes that when we do these trailer reviews that much more awesome.
well,
Yeah.
So thank you.
well, while I'm getting this pulled up, did anybody have any early impressions or thoughts on the trailer they wanted to share?
I would, except I don't remember anything from it, and I forgot to watch it today. So I don't know.
Okay.
For me, what I've noticed is just me for what I like and what I like most and least about the show is I've noticed this as compared to other people. Whenever I see something that seems kind of serious and dramatic, or like Charles says, going boldly, I'm like, cool. But whenever I see things like Pike's hair being emphasized or them looking like Vulcans, I kind of go,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fine. And that's just interesting. That's all subjective.
Yeah. I thought this
Before
one
we-
leaned less into the gimmicky stuff
It
than the
did.
first
Yes.
trailer did. The
Yeah.
first
Yes.
trailer seemed like it was gimmick after gimmick after gimmick.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get a couple comments before we get too far into this because
Oh.
one of them relates very clearly. Matt says, hello, gang. But
What's up, Matt?
Elaine says, I love presentation time for the new trailers. Well, we got you covered.
Good. Because people at work don't like my PowerPoints. So I'm glad you guys
Oh.
enjoyed my presentation.
Right.
And then some of these are just character shots, but I included them and we can just sort of talk as they go by.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody looks great in the trailer. A lot of them look... Go ahead.
Back on that with Peck, I noticed when I was looking at that the other night, he looks like he's got a slight smile on his face. Was that the thing where the crew members were like taking pictures? Wasn't that what it was like in context? You know, like you take class pictures or office photos.
Okay.
Because Ethan Peck has a very slight smile on his face. I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
very, very slight. And I thought I remember seeing that in context, almost like they were taking pictures.
Maybe.
Almost like smile for the camera, but don't smile.
Picture day on the Enterprise.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's not like he's a completely unemotional Vulcan
Right.
yet at this point.
Yeah.
So it's not
Right.
that out of the.
Well, even so, Leonard Nimoy Spock often had a little smile on his face.
Yeah.
And the little grin would start and then he would turn back to his scanner.
Yeah.
I like Uhura's new look that we
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, see, number one is smiling. So it looks like, I think it was photo day, and I think it was like Ethan Peck's character was kind of not smiling. You know, it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, Charles, you were showing the pictures, and the Dr. Mabinga came up, and he was like, yeah, my favorite killer, psycho assassin doctor. Because he's just an interesting guy.
Jess Bush has a little bit of a different look this year as well.
Yes, she does. The hair is
does.
different. She looks more like Melissa Villaseñor, who was an SNL cast member for a
Okay.
while, but
Okay.
not there currently.
Mm-hmm.
That hair, man. I'm sorry. It's just
it's getting-
ridiculous.
It's getting a little hot. Is that his
Yeah, that looks like
girlfriend?
Dell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like I don't know. This must be right before she dies from those Gorn that are hatched.
Right.
I was gonna say, what's up? Yeah, what's the deal here?
Either it's Battelle or he replaces her really quickly.
He's got a type.
Right.
Right.
And one thing that struck me, there's a couple of these sort of civilian looking scenes,
Mhm.
and everyone that I could see in the pictures as I was going through, I went through frame by frame of the trailer, and everyone's got very Star Trek-y futuristic looking outfits on. You know, we've not always gotten that with the new Trek shows.
Mhm.
There was
Right.
one time in particular on Picard where it looked like Patrick Stewart wore his own clothes to set. Like
Yeah.
he just off the rack J.C. Penney's clothes. And I like, I mean, the future outfits people make fun of, but I like that they're future-y outfits when they have them on Star Trek because it's not supposed to be, you know, it's creating a time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good shots of the crew. There's a lot
Mhm.
of shots in this trailer of everybody just sort of smiling at each other. which is nice to see.
That's nice. Yeah.
And then we had this little shot of
Mm.
number one and Dr. Mbenga sort of sparring in the rec deck.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting fight.
I want to know what's going on with her hair and why they have it like poofed up and out, because it looks really odd and unnatural. Or like, are they trying to do like a Pike type thing with her where her hair is like being poofy?
I mean, she's clearly gunning for the captain's chair, so she's got to compete solidly. Yeah.
It's kind of like those "you must be this tall to ride," but to be a starship captain, your hair has to be a certain height.
Or you have to have no hair.
There's a lot of shots of Patel in this, and
and
these
setting up
civilian
for something.
outfits. Yeah, so I'm wondering if she. I mean, maybe she stays a Starfleet captain, but there just seemed to be a lot of shots of her. Maybe she's on leave. I don't know, but in like civilian clothes.
But it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, are they telling us that she makes it through this first episode? Because all these can't be from that first episode. I mean, it can be. They could be doing some flashbacks to Pike or her thinking of past times or whatever. So they all could be from the first episode. But I don't know. It's a lot.
If she survives, then Himmler got screwed.
Oh yeah,
right.
I will say as with all the new Star Trek shows, the production value, the special effects, the CGI is excellent. Even in
I like this shot of the Klingon ship.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It is
the D7 or Katinga, whatever they're calling it this week, because those have been kind of interchangeable on Strange New Worlds. But we got this shot of the Katinga or D7 approaching a planet, and the first really episode footage of action we got was Pike and Mbenga on this jungle planet, and you could see I can zoom in a little bit. You could see that Klingon ship I was talking about last time we did one of these trailer discussions. It was the same style of Klingon ship on Discovery that Ash Tyler and Lorca escaped from that prison in. So I like the mixing of the TOS style, modernized plus Discovery stuff. I like when they bring that stuff together.
Good spot. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it flies in and like bombs them, and these guys are watching them.
Yeah,
and then this thing shows up at the door, which is, I don't know, it's a zombie-ish looking Klingon maybe, or some other kind of monster. But Pike looks very surprised by it.
In most cartoons, when you get surprised, your eyes go this way. With Pike, it goes like that.
Right, his hair gets taller.
The hair gets taller.
It's a defense mechanism. It makes him look bigger. Like a
right.
Then we've had the same shot, I think, of the Klingon with the whip. In the last trailer. But I like these sort of planetary scenes.
Yeah.
What are those little sim over the head things?
Yeah, diamond looking.
Things
there.
They're super cool looking, whatever they are.
Yeah. And then there was this shot of what happens in this shot is like these beams are coming down from space and seem to open this doorway. And it looks like Pike and Batel, perhaps Pike and number one, but they're holding hands. So I'm thinking Pike and Batel.
Yeah.
This is clearly on the volume because you get these sort of sets a lot on the new Star Trek shows where it's just a round area with an expanse beyond them. But these people there's some alien looking people in alien looking outfits.
Yeah.
Which I like to see on Strange New Worlds.
Their heads are in cages.
Yeah. Here's the first shot in the trailer of what's her name, Veronica?
Pelia.
Pelia.
Heck yeah, man.
Veronica plays Pelia in the Subspace Rhapsody picture show.
Yes, she does.
At Dragon Con.
Oh, I love Pelia.
And then they get the Bolian girl. Remember the Bolian girl? I think it's the same one from season 1.
Yeah.
And
completely forgot.
Like it may be her birthday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's someone in the back in like some kind of green uniform looking thing.
It kind of reminds me of the waiter uniforms on 10 Forward on Next Gen. It may not be.
As Veronica was saying that, I was going to point to the screen to like show you which one she's talking about, but then I realized you can't see where I'm pointing.
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah. But you can see where I'm pointing. There's a lot of scenes in this trailer of everybody like hanging out, having dinner, or that sort of thing. And then there was this shot of Chapel in her civilian clothes,
and an Andorian girl.
Yeah,
that's nice to see. And
Don't
there
worry,
he is.
He's back.
Yay!
Aw.
Kirk.
And looks like he's making eyes at La'an.
Uh-huh.
Of
So-
course he is.
Yeah.
That seems like it's not done yet. But then we get these scenes in the trailer with Pike taking command.
Right.
But
Kirk.
I mean, looking at the
But-
chair, that doesn't look like the Enterprise chair,
Mm-mm.
does it? Or is it?
I don't know.
Or is
I
this like
thought
a
it was the
different
Enterprise.
fabric over
that-
it? I mean,
is that
it does
Spock
look
in
like
the
the
background?
Enterprise. But you
Is
know
that
what? If you
Spock?
look back here on
Yeah.
that display,
Mhm.
if that might be a different ship with the underslung nacelle, whether that's the representation of this ship or not. I mean, I don't know. The material on the chair looks different. It could be the lighting in this photo. It looks a
And
little
that-
bit different to me.
And it is Spock back there, right?
That's Spock, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering the same thing.
Yeah, so it could be. But there's a scene with Pike sort of giving Kirk some advice about taking
Yeah.
command.
Yeah.
And then Spock and Kirk on the bridge, which is, I mean, it's a big moment in Star Trek. If this is the first time Captain Kirk or Lieutenant Kirk takes command of the bridge of the Enterprise, it would be a big moment, even if it's just for one mission. And then they tease some new romances.
Don't need it.
You're going to get it, though.
I'm assuming it's gonna be the Uhura and
Yes.
brother.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but yeah, that and
Well,
I think there's some more stuff
Corby.
going on this too. Yeah, that's coming up here too. In this shot,
Yeah.
though, this looks like that Vulcan episode that we've all been so highly anticipating, where they all turn into Vulcans because she's wearing that outfit and she looks like looks like she's in Vulcan mode.
Yeah.
Oh.
her,
Yeah,
her
yeah, yeah.
eyebrows are like doing the
Yeah, and
slant
her
thing.
her
What's up
ears.
with the
look
eye
like-
gear? I wonder.
Maybe
I
there's
mean,
a Medusan on board.
I was wondering the
this
same
is
thing.
about to happen, Keith.
Oh,
Something
okay.
explodes on that table.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was at work and they were going to explode something on the table and they're just like, "Here, wear these eyewear. You'll be fine. You don't have to move back."
Yeah, right.
That's always a funny thing about Star Trek. TNG was real bad about that. Remember, sometimes Geordi and Data and them, they would be testing weapons, and you'd see like the warp core right behind them.
Right.
Just
We're testing this
makes
experimental weapon next to the warp core.
it-
Right. Well, we get to see Uhura in this snazzy outfit.
Look at her.
Very
She's
60s.
so
This is
great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the modernized 60s stuff. They
Yeah.
do a
I
lot of
agree.
that on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show. Even when it's not consistent with what they did in the 60s, they're still carrying that sort of like mid-century vibe forward.
Yeah.
And that I actually like because such fashion trends, they come around again. How many science fiction shows you've seen where people dress like they're in the 40s or the 50s again in the future? I kind of like that look.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, we're passing by some comments. Do you want to grab some comments and
Sure.
Yeah.
before we move
At this
forward?
point, I was thinking we would wait till the end, but
Oh, we can if you want to.
no. Since we've paused, let me get him. Okay. Wait, we had that one, and then Elaine says that she loves the chuckle from Pike towards the end of the trailer. We'll
Okay.
get there.
Spoiler alert.
Our buddy Mark, I know, right? Likes Uhura's new makeover
Mhm.
and says
She has
that
some awesome hairstyles this year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like her
Pike's
little
hair-
spiky one that we saw earlier.
Mm.
yeah. Pike's hair goes where no man has gone before.
Yeah, Mark is getting a
And-
little crazy.
Calls it Pike's Peak.
I speak.
And Matt says Strange New World season 3, the hair season. Elaine says, don't sound too thrilled about Kirk there, Keith.
Elaine, I'm trying not to complain about Kirk and the Gorn. It's going to be hard, but I'm trying.
And we appreciate your efforts, Keith. And Erica says she looks amazing. I'm guessing referring to Uhura.
Yeah.
Could be, well, any of them. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then Mark slides in right as I was about to end the comments by saying, I like the sci-fi fashion trope where the women all dress like cocktail waitresses.
Well, I like the emphasis on hair, even when it's ridiculous hair, because that's a very original series.
Mhm.
Because they had those massive
Dude.
beehives.
Oh,
they
boy.
pointed everybody's sideburns on the show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Spock's hair is very iconic. I think the hair thing is very much in keeping with 60s Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
They still did the pointy thing through like the
Through-
90s
yeah,
Trek
Yeah,
too.
they continued that. Yeah,
I noticed that and I was like, why does everyone have pointy sideburns?
yeah, but the hair seemed to be a little less over the top on
Yes.
the 90s shows than it was in the
Yes.
original series.
As a quick aside, I'm sure everybody here knows if you ever watch Neil deGrasse Tyson, the famous astrophysicist and lecturer, you'll notice that he has Star Trek pointy sideburns. And that is a 100% deliberate homage to Star Trek.
I'm
That's awesome.
disappointed, Keith, that you didn't say he had pointy ears. Just sideburns.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like in the trailer that there's a little budding romance between Uhura and Ortega's little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, if this guy gets a focus episode and Ortegas hasn't gotten one yet, I'm going to be
Yep.
pissed off.
Right.
I'm going to be pissed off because I need my pilot episode. I need her to get some focus on this show. And I don't want the focus to be because her little brother comes on board and flirts around with Uhura. I want Ortegas to get her own focus on this show.
I agree because she's a naturally likable character.
Mhm.
She has a really easy manner that I really like about her, and I agree we haven't seen enough of her yet.
Mm.
Erica says, I fly the ship. And yes, she does.
One thing that jumped out at me about this image, and I just had been praising their futury outfits for the civilians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This guy has zippers and buttons just visible.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
zippers and buttons will never go out of style.
On Star
They're
Trek, they did.
practical.
According to Roddenberry, for some reason.
Well, we haven't got there yet.
Right.
Maybe this guy's the reason why they go out of style.
I like the idea that like the clothes are futuristic material with futuristic fastenings that we don't understand, rather than just going the easy route of zippers and buttons. But that's me.
Yeah. It's a retro look.
Yep. And then we got Ortega's here.
Yeah. I love that earring.
Yeah. And this outfit looks to me a little more futury,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but they seem to be very into each other there.
Yeah. Look at her. She's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love that hair. Somebody pointed out that hair. Veronica, I think, pointed
Yeah.
out that. I love that look. She's
Right.
Yeah.
so fantastic.
And it looks like, is that Ortegas in a dress uniform behind her out of focus?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So I wonder why Ortegas is in dress uniform and Uhura's in civilian clothes in this scene. I'm interested to find out.
Mm-hmm.
New adventures with a picture of a Gorn ship on it.
Yay.
Okay. That's not new.
I thought it was kind of funny that it was new adventures and it's like a returning alien.
Yeah.
Yay.
So we go back and I'm sure this is from the season premiere.
Yeah.
Where they're picking up from the cliffhanger. Because we get quite a few shots here of the Gorn action going on. Pike. And Kirk on the bridge. I'm wondering if this is from... I mean, this has got to be... You're right. It's got to be the Enterprise. I wonder if they've recovered the chair. Or maybe I just don't remember what the chair looks like.
Yeah, but either that or like Next Gen changed something on the bridge every season, like the carpet or the drapes or the...
Right.
I don't know.
But if this is the cliffhanger and they're still in the battle with the Gorn, it'll be hilarious if they reupholstered the chair.
That's true.
Yeah, one quick thing about Kirk, which is funny, is, as you know, I really hate Kirk in the series, but it's funny. However, when I look at what people say online, the number of people who hate the actor playing Kirk, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like how I feel about the Abrams movies. I don't hate Star Trek Into Darkness as much as some people because I already have my issues with it. The number of people who hate this actor playing Kirk is amazing. I think he's fine. I don't think you're ever going to have another William Shatner, so I think he's fine.
Yeah.
You can't have a perfect William Shatner. There's no way.
Yeah, I think his physicality is very different from Shatner, and that's what people want. And I see people compare him to the Jim Carrey when he was playing Captain Kirk on Living Color because of the jaw and sort of the way he carries himself.
Yeah.
Chris Pine, I think, was more Shatnery. And
I think so too. I think Chris Pine was great.
But I will say I like the way they write Kirk in this because they don't go for the easy tropes. I mean, he does have some romance and things, but I mean, that one episode they had him hustling chess in the park, and like they lean into the fact that Kirk was a genius, and
also by his own admission. Remember, he said in Original Series, by his own admission, Kirk was kind of grim back then. Kirk became the more venturing ladies' man we think we know now.
Right.
So this works.
Yeah. The Enterprise get into some action here.
Yeah,
it looks great, and it looks beautiful. I will say that's a great looking scene, just beautiful. Look at the weapons right there. You froze.
I'm sorry.
No, the way the weapens are frozen there, just amazing, stunning.
Yeah, they have. The visual effects on the show look great. We've got Sam Kirk back.
Is that a phaser rifle?
Yep. And what is he, like a botanist or something? Right.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're in some action. This looks like Gorn action to me, like a Gorn environment.
Killing some pods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And La'an, remembering that she has a backstory with the Gorn.
Mm.
Oh, let me zoom back in. I'm so sorry. And some more Gorn ships. There was quite a few shots of these Gorn ships.
Yeah.
And I liked again that they have new worlds over the Gorn.
Yeah,
ship.
we'll see.
Yeah, I know
Will Smith.
that is funny. And I will say one thing about the Gorn again. Outside of my feelings, it's hilarious with all this Gorn action. Now you kind of wonder why the hell would they put a colony on Cestus 3 in the original series? You know what I mean? After all this crap, then you put a colony on Cestus 3, and they're like, holy crap, the Gorn showed up and killed the colonists. Well, after what I'm seeing in this series, of course they did.
Yeah.
So this to me looks like the other side of that shot with the beams from space opening that portal.
Mhm.
That you have two starships. One I assume is the Enterprise. One upside down and one right side up, oriented together and firing in concert with each other.
Mhm.
In which case, Pike and I guess it was his lady friend who was with him were pretty ballsy to stand right there a meter from where they're targeting. A lot of faith in Starfleet's targeting abilities. there.
Right.
But I kind of like this. It kind of reminded me of that shot from Enterprise where the Columbia and the
Yep.
Enterprise
Yes.
coordinated and went,
Yeah,
near
that
each
was
other.
such a
Whoa,
cool shot.
Alan, did you hear that? Charles
I know.
the Enterprise app.
Well, because it didn't have anything to do with any of the scripts or the cast or anything. It was
Right.
two ships that did some cool stuff together.
One turned upside down. It's the highlight of the show. You got this big portal thing with a Starfleet shuttlecraft emerging from it.
Yeah, that looks like
I
a
don't know if you can see
Discovery
that there on the
effect.
screen, but it's right there.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Is it emerging or going
Ah.
into it?
It was emerging in the video.
Wow, you did some analysis. I completely didn't see that.
Yeah, I went through literally frame by frame on this thing. Here she is back in uniform, which is
Yeah.
good.
Huh.
And I just like the brighter lighting. I think everything looks so sharp in this picture.
Yeah.
Those
Because oftentimes
jackets
they
are so awesome.
they really are, and those again are reminiscent of an Enterprise thing. Those Enterprise always
Mhm.
that they
Mhm.
have.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what is the symbol that is on her badge? Because it looks like they're trying to do the little star, but it's missing. It's like just
I think we're just
Mhm.
it's just a little bit out of focus there. I think it's the same as his.
Oh,
Yeah.
the same. Oh,
I think
Yeah.
so.
I don't know. It looks wider at the top.
You might be right, but I think maybe it's just the way the camera's picking it up. But I guess we'll see. We'll look for that. And then we had this shot of this whole thing, which at first glance I thought it was like a bunch of TARDISes, but this whole thing sort of like spirals and comes apart as like some sort of vortex rips it apart. But it's some sort of weird alien environment, perhaps. Does it look a little TARDIS-y to you at first glance?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does.
And I think this is her. I think maybe this is like after she survived the
Patel?
Gorn is in trauma. Yeah, Patel. I keep forgetting her name. And then we got
You won't need to
La'an.
know it after episode 1 anyway. So
Maybe.
I'm
I
kidding.
guess we'll see.
If you go back 1 second, is that
Sure.
is that the weapons locker? Or is that her
Yeah, it looks like an
quarters?
armory of some kind.
Okay.
Yep.
I hope it's not her quarters.
I hope this room is locked because these weapons are just on the wall.
right.
I know,
Yeah, that'd be
right?
hilarious if that was her. You go over for a date and she's ready for action.
Oh man, that's funny.
And then this scene, this looked like Klingons shambling in. So I think it's like a Klingon zombie episode. That's my guess. I guess
okay.
We've
we'll
had
find out
a
what happens.
we've had a Vulcan zombie episode
Yeah.
before, so
That's true,
why
Yeah.
not a Klingon one?
right?
Yep.
But I'm glad it just looks like they're on a planet here.
Yeah.
And then it explodes.
boom.
Yeah.
Great effect.
Yep.
Love her.
We're back on the ship. And here's our actor playing Roger Corby.
Yeah.
That's Roger Corby?
That's Roger Corby.
Huh. Not what I pictured.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of the casting?
Well, I can see why her head got turned from Spock.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He has
I'm
a
just
kind of
saying.
a Ethan Peck Spock, but not Spock.
Okay.
look.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think in the face, I can see the resemblance between him and the original Roger Corby.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to go more silver. Going to the
Yeah,
edge of
that's
space
why
and becoming an
yeah.
android makes your hair go silver, I guess.
Yeah, that's why
Right.
that's why I was did a double take because I honestly didn't realize that was Corby. I
Right.
didn't realize that.
Yep. Well, Spock did because he punches him.
Right?
So what do you think about Spock? I mean, maybe there's a good reason. I don't know. Do you think Spock's just punching Roger Corby because he's jealous?
I hope
do you
not,
like
because
him
he
online?
shouldn't. I know Spock's supposed to be more emotional, but this is if he just punched him because he's pissed off, that's kind of silly.
I need them to move a little more toward the less emotional Spock. I'm ready for
Agreed.
that move.
I agree completely.
So I
Wait.
was laughing because of
Uh-huh.
a line Chuck wrote for one of our Star
Oh.
Trek puppet shows where
Uh-huh.
J.J. Abrams was like, "It makes you so mad you just want to punch him because he's
Oh.
after your girl."
Yeah,
And right
true.
here.
that was
Perfect.
based on Star Trek 2009.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say this: if Spock punched him, he pulled his punch because the guy still has his teeth.
Right. Right. We got Scotty back.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
Scotty.
Yeah.
I was not excited about them bringing too many original
either.
series characters into this, but I gotta say, man, this guy is so great as Scotty.
Yeah, I just wish he didn't look like he was 15 years younger than Kirk.
I agree.
To me,
Yeah,
that's the opposite
Well,
of what
maybe.
Kirk and Scotty
I
did.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
But as far as the actor goes, I think he's doing a fine job playing. the
Yeah,
character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uhura and Ortega's brother.
Yep.
See?
Yes.
Zipper again. I don't like him. Zipper man.
I wonder what he's playing because the way his hair and stuff is mirror, he almost like he could be playing like some kind of boy genius or something.
Hmm.
And you got that from his hair?
Yeah, the look. Yeah, he's got that slightly disheveled look in that face. I could see if he's like some guy who's so smart he can't relate to people.
His hair looks smart.
His forehead, his hair. Yeah, I got all that from that one scene. I really did. Like he's probably a super genius.
You have constructed his whole backstory just on
I
this
have.
one photo.
And he likes retro zippers.
Exactly.
Here we've got them. This looks like that same environment to me where that got ripped apart by that vortex thing.
Yeah.
Perhaps
yeah.
some sort of station or big
Mhm.
ship or something.
Mhm.
Who's that behind La'an?
That looks like Roger Corby to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
No. Awkward.
Your Spock mind melding
Looks like with Kirk.
could be. Although I think that Spock said on screen, I have to check the dialogue, that Simon Van Gelder in Dagger of the Mind was the first time he'd ever mind melded with a person, with a human.
Oh, well, that doesn't matter to this show. Come on.
I know it
glad you
doesn't.
said it, Charles. I didn't want to be the person to point it out, but
I didn't
thank
forget.
you. Thank you for pointing it out because in Dagger of the Mind, there was a big deal about he must now use an ancient technique and blah blah blah, and that was probably we thought that was the first time,
Right.
but here we go.
Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Here we go.
Because it had a gold. He had a gold uniform, but it didn't look like Pike's hair. It looked like Kirk's hair.
Yeah, you might well be right.
There's no way.
And here we are as Ortega's. Look, she's flying the ship.
Wow, it looks like she's playing a piano keyboard or something. That's a weird finger structure.
It looks like she's mad at somebody.
Yeah, right. Shoot
Could
the
be.
bird.
Yeah.
And here we are with some Starfleet ship action. Perhaps the same ship that was
Yeah.
with the
Hmm.
Enterprise not long ago.
It's
Mm.
got to be.
I don't know
Yeah.
how she did that with her fingers. I can't make my fingers do that.
Is that the same ship that Kirk was serving on? Wasn't he on the
Could be.
Lexington or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it had the underslung like the Miranda style.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. It would make sense
Yeah.
given all the pictures they showed of Kirk.
Right.
It would make sense.
And the Enterprise blast whatever's going on there.
Nice.
Oh, I ended up with 2 shots of the mind meld. Oh, I backed up a little bit. Here's Spock dancing,
Looks like
Mm.
with La'an.
or number 1. What do you think? What's your guess? The honor number 1.
I think it's Angel.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I don't think it.
I would love
wished-
it if it were Angel.
Oh, I wish it. I need. Well, we'll talk about that after this.
This looks like that new set that they were debuting this year with the water. And
Oh
the
yeah.
floor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What do we think about
Hmm.
look at this set?
That's
What-
beautiful.
What is it?
Station
Where
Ops?
is it? What's it
Maybe.
supposed to be?
I don't know if it's a computer core. Veronica suggested Station Ops. Maybe there's dolphins swimming around underneath them while they're dancing.
If only. Oh, wouldn't that be romantic?
There's also some sort of port above them. I'm not sure if that's to space or if that and
Yeah.
it could be well in a water tank.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Mm.
I do like when they add the little Star Trek-y bits. You know what I mean? They do a good job
Right.
of that, of doing a modern looking design that's sort of retro modern, but also adding
Mhm.
on like the little like gumdrop buttons and things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then the Enterprise crashes into this thing with the shields.
That looks
Mhm.
kind of like the thing that they were on with the cities. Maybe.
Could
Maybe
be
that's how it pulls apart.
some sort of weird city ship thing. I'd be interested in that.
That's almost
Mhm.
a Strange New World.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Right.
Then I mean, I'm guessing that Pelia and Scotty will be working together. They're both
Yep.
engineers.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's going to be mentoring him.
Right.
Oh, I love that so much.
Then we had the X-Flare simulation on the screen, and the simulation is showing the USS Enterprise destroyed.
Mm.
And
Wow.
and like there is an X class solar flare, so that's a real thing. So the X flare is like an actual stellar phenomenon.
Cool.
They're using science.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just like this shot because it's the gumdrop buttons I was talking about, but also a modern touch thing next to it. I think I
Yeah.
like that they integrate this stuff very well. I think in this.
Agreed. A big red button.
And I don't think those buttons, like the other buttons, stand out to a viewer who's not like excited to see them. Like a regular viewer, I don't think would be put off by the fact that those are there.
I don't think so either. But what do I know?
And then a nice shot of the transporter console
with the slider controls. Yeah.
Then this looks like that same scene they were showed in the other trailer where they were like attaching analog phones to the Enterprise for some reason.
Oh yeah, yeah.
that?
That's an interesting. It's very Battlestar Galactica.
Right.
Absolutely.
Pike again, ready for action. Spock again. Ortegas and Mitchell. Then this is just a shuttlecraft flying by. And then Star Trek Strange New Worlds, new season streaming July 17th. And then we get this little scene with Spock and Patton Oswalt. What do you guys think of that?
No.
As long as it doesn't lean
Why
into
did
too
you
much.
do that? You are too slow.
Did you see this scene, Keith?
What's that with him and Patton Oswalt?
Yeah.
Oswald?
Yeah.
I did. I have no idea what to make of it.
Dumb.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt was too slow.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's basically brings us to the end of the trailer because then we got the scene of Pike chuckling that Elaine.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
As
right.
I said, I always groan a little bit when they lean into the humor. Not that I'm against humor, but they just look for me. They lean a little bit too much into the humor, so I don't know what to expect from Patton Oswalt on there.
Right. I mean, it's got to be the Vulcan hijinks episode.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They got to do that every year.
Yeah.
Like TNG had the Klingon episode arcs every year, and then Strange New Worlds thing is the Vulcan hijinks.
Got it.
Something wacky will happen with Vulcans.
Yeah.
All right.
That doesn't excite me.
All right. Got a stack of comments.
Okay.
Erica says, I don't get the hate. I love him. I'm guessing Erica's talking about Kirk.
Okay.
I'm only guessing. Mark says,
No hate.
Ensign
just
Kirk
don't come up.
always had his nose in a book,
Mhm.
said Gary Mitchell.
Yeah. In his class, you think or sink.
Erica says, after the musical episode, La'an is my fave. That's a good pick.
That was a huge turning point for my perception of her as an actress, because she was
Yeah.
fantastic in that.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Elaine is letting us know that Batel's first name is Marie.
I should have remembered that. That's my middle name.
Boat Trek Live. I don't think we've had this person
Welcome.
on our show before. Nice
Welcome.
to see you. Thank you so much for joining. 26 more episodes and the series is done. Well, don't jump ahead. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment.
And that's
and
a
then-
scary number. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Before you move on, I'm curious if it's Boat Trek or Boa Trek.
That's true. Good point. Boa
Yeah.
Trek. I like that better. Okay. Snake. Or
I was thinking
No.
feather boas.
Exactly. Exactly. Could be anything. Who knows? And Elaine wraps us up by saying, I don't remember what Corby looked like, and I think I like Spock better. You're just biased towards Spock.
I mean, surely though, after like viewing the show's intention is for you to like Spock better at the end.
Of
I'm not going
course.
to introduce Roger Corby and want you to prefer him over Spock.
Elaine Corby is a decidedly much more middle-aged looking man with, as Charles
Yeah.
said, much more gray hair. So this guy, frankly, doesn't look like Corby. He looks like Corby way too young for where he is. But I don't know. I mean, things like that. I point them out, but things like that don't bother me. I'm literally just
Well,
hey. We'll see
But
what
it's the same. It's the same with her character too, because
Yeah.
they both look like they are 20 years younger than what we saw of them in the original
Exactly.
series. At
You're
least
right.
20.
Right.
You're
and
right.
so they're really matching up their two
Yeah.
ages, but
Right.
it's a much bigger gap than there really should
Right.
be in real
Yeah, and they
time.
already have introduced the
That-
idea that this character is her professor, and I
Yeah.
think making him 15 years older and gray haired just is probably not the vibe they're going for
Yeah.
of her
Right.
romancing her older professor.
Yeah, exactly.
You But also, I mean, traveling to the edge of the galaxy and dying and becoming an android you'll put gray hair in your head.
It's likely to. That is true.
Right. Well, what do you guys think of the trailer?
I mean, it's good. It's definitely got me juiced for the new season.
Yeah.
I'm super. I mean, not that I wouldn't be anyway, but
Right.
you know, I mean, they're trying to sell me on something that I'm so 100% sold on already.
Right. Yeah, I didn't watch this to decide if I wanted to continue watching Strange New Worlds or not.
Yeah, and I agree with you also,
Opposite thing
Charles.
Any fans are doing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did like that there was some more serious stuff in this. more
Exactly.
Strange
Yeah.
New Worlds, more adventure in space, and less
Right.
emphasis on the gimmicks and hijinks. I think
Mhm.
the first trailer sort of leaned into the gimmicky episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking for some interesting drama and some Strange New Worlds. And I don't mind the gimmicky episodes, like the Trouble with Tribbles or a piece of the action, that sort of thing. I like those to be mixed in, but I don't want that to be the focus of the show.
But those ones were mixed into a season of 26 episodes.
Right.
Thus,
Or
the
more.
26 left.
Yeah. And
Right.
So when you only get 10 and
Yeah.
2 of them last year were gimmicky,
Right.
you know, that's hard. That's a bit much.
Yeah. It's just a greater percentage of them. I agree with you there.
Yeah, yeah. But since Boa Trek brought it up by saying that there's only 26 episodes left of this series, let's just go ahead and talk about the fact that we got the news today that we already knew that. So we're going into season 3, and it had already been renewed for a 4th season beyond that, which seemed like really great news. With that, we got basically a 2-season renewal, and that's like bright future. But then today we found out that there will be a 5th season, but it's basically a half season,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. That's the last we get.
Yep.
10 episodes,
Like-
right?
No, 6.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
that's right,
ep-
6, not 10.
Season
because
5 will be 6 episodes.
That is incredibly short.
When I first saw the news, I mean, it wasn't really a surprise because Discovery,
Yeah.
they cut off Strange New World. I mean, Lower Decks, they cut off at season 5. I kind of expected season 5 would be the
I
final
kind
one.
of did too. Yeah.
Then the idea, the news that it's only 6 episodes makes it feel sort of like a limping to a conclusion. You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
And the fact that you go ahead and put that out now when you've just given it
You're
a
not even getting
2-season,
into season 3 yet.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like it's so preemptive, like, you know, like you're telling everybody this show. But it's interesting though, because just like Pike's character, we're going into these seasons knowing that the show has a finite end, like it
Right.
has an end point, just like Pike's character. And no matter what happens with Pike's character, we know where that character ends.
Mm.
Right.
It's an interesting situation to be in
Mm-hmm.
as a viewer. I mean,
Yeah, I wonder if they'll lean into the 6, like make them longer, because it's easier, I think, probably cheaper for them to do 6 episodes that are longer, because we sometimes get episodes that push an hour in the streaming era, and then try to promote it as there's 6 episodes, but they're like each one's like a little movie, you know, like Sherlock is kind of that way, where each episode there's only three a year, but they're all like little movies themselves, like 90 minutes long. You know?
well, if we got 6 episodes of 90 minutes each, that'd be fine with me.
Sure. I don't know that they'll go that long,
No,
but no, yeah, the 6 episode thing, and 3 of them will be gimmick episodes, so 3
Right.
dramatic episodes, and 1 of they visit a planet.
I'm wondering now that they know, and it's only 6 episodes, I'm wondering if the entire last season will be a long story arc to get Pike promoted to fleet captain and
Yeah.
Kirk, bring Kirk on and get the crew to work, like some major event where they finally work together, Kirk and Spock, and bring on McCoy and Uhura and Scotty. And I can see the last episode. I guess the last episode will be Kirk getting the ship from Pike. So I wonder if that entire 6th season, again, they don't know. I mean, they just found out, so I don't know if they're going to plan it. But I wonder if they would plan it such that the entire last season will be the story arc. That's
could
what I
be.
think. Yeah, I could see.
I
them
mean,
doing like that.
with a shortened season, that's exactly what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
I would make it a tightly plotted 6-part
Right.
epic story. That's what I would
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a couple. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I wonder if the show is going to run, how close to the original series they're going to go. Are they going to overlap? Because I think there's, at this point, I think there's still like, what is it, still 2360 for season 3 or 2260? So we're still like 5 years out from the original series. So I'm just curious if they're going to overlap and have Captain Kirk and Spock on the bridge with the whole crew, And if there'll be anything post accident for
Right. Right.
They could do a time jump for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
seasons 1 to 5.
I'm sure they'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of my first questions too, Charles. Are they even going to touch the incident with Pike or no? Or are they just going to have him become fleet captain and have Kirk sitting in the chair and end the series?
They could do that like they do on biopics, where it's like Captain Pike was in a.
Right.
But I mean, this will leave the show at 46 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
For the run, right?
Right.
So that's
right.
like halfway through season 2 of the original series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, seeing that number when Boatrack said 26 episodes to go, my first thought was that's exactly the length of one season of TNG/DS9/Voyager. 26, 27
100%.
episodes. Yeah, and that
100%.
put it in absolute perspective. Wow.
Yeah, but they're also spending as much on one episode of this show as they spend on an entire season of those series.
Which they don't
Yeah.
need to.
Right.
I mean, I totally agree with that.
They
Yeah,
spend
but-
that much, but they still can't afford to go to planets because we either get stuff on the ship or on the
Yeah.
volume, and it's rare we'll get a planet.
Right. And with that volume, they could go to any damn planet they want to,
Right.
but we don't get it.
Mhm.
But we've only had 2 seasons. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah.
The trailer didn't give us a lot of that, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Mark says, this announcement makes no sense. Just play out the episodes and seasons and see where things fall.
Right.
Erica is very surprised at the announcement that there's only 6 episodes in the final season.
Mhm.
Me too.
Mark says that this announcement is just more proof that the network execs have no idea what they're doing.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, they're also dealing with this change of ownership situation.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
It could be that the Skydance people they're talking to who are coming in said, we'll commit to season 5, but not 10 episodes.
Could be. Yeah.
I don't know.
There's got to be
Or-
some backstory to this.
Right. There's got to be something.
Mark says the Kirk crew would be Kirk, Spock, Piper, Mitchell, Scotty, Kelso, and Sulu in season 5.
You would think that,
That'd be okay.
but the Pike crew doesn't have Dr. Boyce. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they're that worried about lining up with the original series. At least they haven't been for the first 2 seasons. And I can't imagine that they're going to start doing. I would love it if Mitchell came in, or Kelso. Obviously, I would love it if Kelso came in.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm not expecting like Dr. Piper to show up. I'm expecting
No.
Bones and Sulu before the show's over.
Even if they're just like a flyby, they
Mhm.
might not join the crew, but they'll make an appearance.
Right. But if you got Kirk and Spock,
Yeah.
you think they're going to resist the temptation to have Dr. McCoy on there?
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
agree with you. We'll see him at some point. 100%. And then our last comment so far, Erica says, I need so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then, of course, we have Academy coming up at whatever point that's coming up.
Right.
So we do have more Trek on the way.
Yeah. My guess is that we would get the first season of Academy and the 4th season of the original series of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Next year.
Next
On
year,
the 60th anniversary year.
Mm,
I would imagine they're going to want both of those. Now I could be wrong, but that would be my guess. We'll have those 2 at least next year. And then 2027, hopefully a season of each, but who knows? I mean, everything's kind of up in the air right now
Right.
of whether the merger will be allowed to happen. There's a lot of political stuff going on with that as well.
Oh boy, is there ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's
Who
a lot
knows?
of stuff. One thing, Charles, you said something that made me think about something too about Strange New Worlds. One thing I was thinking about, this is not a criticism, it's an observation. Strange New Worlds hasn't yet established its own one thing that, every series, of course, the original series you can't talk about. It established so much. But TNG came in and established the Borg and the Cardassians. They created a new thing. Deep Space Nine had the Founders, and then really took the Cardassians to a new level. Voyager had, they revisited the Borg, but they did have some things like the 8472 and so forth. So far, Strange New World hasn't really established its own identity because they've been using the Gorn. Like they haven't that one thing that makes me go, this is the thing that this show brought to the Star Trek universe.
right, but
yeah.
so far,
Yeah.
no Star Trek since 2017 has introduced a big memorable race.
Right.
like that.
Yeah,
Right.
they haven't.
They've
You're
not
right.
Discovery-
done that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Discovery never did.
Right.
No.
And what they've done is reimagine the old stuff. Maybe that's just where media is right now, where you got the new Klingons, the new Breen, the new Gorn, the new, there's always the new whatever.
I wish they
Picard brought
would.
back changelings and Borg and Borg and Borg.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, there's no new like you said, there's no new Dominion. You know what I mean? There's no new species that defines.
And that's so funny because in Discovery we almost got that. Like every season was built on something new, like the Emerald Chain, and then we got the big scary aliens from season 5, I guess it was. And there's so many things that they could have done.
Right.
Which big scary? Oh, you're talking about the end of season 4 where you had the 10C come out,
4.
right?
10C.
But they're in an episode or two. You know what I mean? Like they're not,
right.
Yeah.
And even when they do introduce something, they have the antagonist has got to be defeated at the end of the season. You know what I mean? There's no Gul Dukat that's going to be on the show the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm kind of missing that for them to establish their own character in that way. Yeah. But like you said, I didn't realize they hadn't done that since they've come back with the franchise.
Right.
Lily Mack, also known as Susie,
welcome,
says Starfleet Academy, the show no one asked for.
I'm looking forward to Academy.
Oh, I am too.
It's the show I asked for.
But the show that everyone asked for was the Legacy, that potential Legacy show,
right?
With Seven and Picard's son and the Q rebirth of Q.
They set up.
I mean, that episode. If that episode wasn't trying to introduce a new pilot, I don't know what the hell it was doing.
Right.
And then every fan in the world got excited about that, and then they're like, "Nah, have Academy instead." I will say I'm looking forward to Academy, though. I really am, and I'm excited about it. But I would have been excited about that other thing too.
Yeah, I think I'm more excited about Academy. I'm glad we're getting that. For me personally, I think the Legacy thing, even in the name, it just feels more like regurgitating old Star Trek stuff.
No, I get that.
Everybody from TNG's kids and Captain 7 of 9 on the new Enterprise and meeting Q again. You know what I mean? But whereas I like the continuation of the 32nd century from Discovery, and I like bringing younger people into Star Trek. So I don't know. I could end up hating the show. I haven't seen it yet, but as far as the concept, I'm intrigued.
Yep. Erica says Legacy would have been great. I feel tricked.
Yep.
The thing
I
with
think
it
a lot of people do.
Don't queue it up like a Marvel show if you have no intention of making it.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe they were trying to force Paramount's hand.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're trying to get the fan reaction, which worked because it worked for Anson Mount. Like that's how we got Strange New Worlds, is everybody went crazy for Anson Mount.
Exactly, 100%.
But I don't think it. I think they're probably willing. I think there's a strange money situation going on. But also streaming itself is kind of imploding, and everyone's trying to figure out how to make money at streaming.
Yeah.
I was just reading something the other day about how Apple is putting so much money and losing so much money on these streaming shows because it's just not profitable. It's like all these legacy media companies became startups in the streaming era, and they're all just pouring money into these things, hoping that they'll take off.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, we're come to the end of an era of Star Trek, I think, and the Skydance era may launch a new one. I hope, because my hope is the new owners will want to exploit the existing IP.
Right.
And exploit sounds mean, but I just mean make money off it by giving me Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay. We have a similar comment from Mark. Not greenlighting Legacy is just more proof that the network execs have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
No, it just means they have a different agenda than we have.
Yeah. I mean, Kurtzman has said that he would love to, but it's not up to him. He doesn't greenlight shows. It's really, I mean, right now we need to find out if this merger is going to be allowed to take place. It has to be approved by the government. But also there were some senators who were they were getting involved about whether this is a kickback to the president and things like that. It's a kind of a weird situation. So assuming the Skydance thing happens, there's going to be new owners, and I imagine they're going to do some things differently.
Yep. Lily says, "I'll watch it, but with a critical eye. After Andor, I want better." Yeah,
that's a big ask.
Let's just exactly, man. Let's just talk about Andor for the last few minutes. Holy moly,
that's a great show.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Strange New Worlds. We have just next month it comes back on.
Yep.
Yeah.
July 17th. Is that the date?
Yeah. So we got 1 month and 3 days, or
Right.
5 days. Something.
Right.
I don't know. I can't count.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Until then, we'll be live on Thursday evenings talking about legacy Star Trek topics.
Yeah.
Keith, until then, where can people find more of you?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about you, Alan?
Well, you could go over to cosmiccreative.com, KOZMIC creative.com. And I've got all my books that I've written there. I've got books that I've published from other authors and my podcast and information about the documentary I'm working on.
And how about us, Veronica?
Feltnerdy.com.
That's right. And if you're in the Dalton, Georgia area, we'll be at the convention called Metrotham. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, doing a Star Trek show for them. It's kind of rare we do convention shows these days outside of Dragon Con. So, but we were persuaded to come do a convention show up in Dalton for Metrotham. So come see us. Come give some Star Trek puppets some love. Also, we have some library shows coming up in the Atlanta area in July and some other stuff planned after that. So we hope
When you
to see. Huh?
Sorry, when you say you were persuaded to do that con, is that what this means? Is that
That's what that
Yes.
means. Yes, it is.
right? That's the way to do it right there.
And you can follow us at Felt Nerdy across social media, or Felt Nerdy and Dirty for our adult content, or go to feltnerdy.com. Where else can people find us?
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
That's right. We have some special episodes coming up soon. I think we're going to go live on the 20th of June over at the Monkeying Around Facebook page for a special show. So join us for that, for a special
Fun.
Monkeying Around. And do you have a closing for us this week?
Hit it.
Hit it.
Perfect.
Consider it hit. All right. Join us Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube or after the fact on your favorite podcast platform. Search for Earth Station Trek.
See you, everybody. Take care.